It'd be good if I put the mute off, right? Sorry, guys. That's my mistake. I was on mute. Crypto Trader Vader here, and doing another live Poloniex trading journal, and where I'll be analyzing live the 35 different coins. I'll be playing the role of devil today, as you can see in my thumbnail, because I made a whole lot of predictions here last week that turned out to be the opposite of what happened. And that, my friends, is the market. So let's just begin. Let's jump right in. Thanks, Doug, for letting me know that you can hear me. I appreciate it. If there's any coins you want me to check out, I know you're always keen on Made. So I'll get onto Made Safe in a sec. Let's just get through a couple of these first. So what are we in the 12-hour candles? Let's move across to the 4-hour. And essentially last week I probably said, like I did with most of them, that that I was bullish on them, and that was on the date last week was the 3rd. So right around pretty much the top is when I said that they'd be going higher. In my defense, they were right approaching this top line of this larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So we see like kind of right down here is the bottom, and then right over here kind of now forming is the 3, and it might dip a little lower before that 3 hits, or it might be right here. But it was really approaching that. It even broke out a couple of times, but none of those really stuck, and eventually the market started to turn. Bitcoin started to continue upwards, and wasn't good for alts in general. So you'll probably see a lot of downward charts like this, and overall it's kind of hard to tell, of course, because the short-term signs are pointing to the market continuing lower. But also, there's a bit of a slowing down of that trend now, so we might kind of see that bottom out and start to creep back up, and obviously try and retest the levels up there. That's my hope, and that's my rational thinking. I think that's going to be happening. Part of me is scared that the market is going to be continuing downwards, and I don't want to be holding the bags. However, I think it's a little early to tell. So it's pretty much yeah, I don't know how to really predict this, although I just think it's going to be kind of slowly creeping back up, hopefully over the next week or so. So we might kind of see it, or we might kind of see it slow down and continue downwards, but slower. Ultimately, like, what I want to happen is for the markets to just the velocity of the money and the change to be slowing down, like it did back here, where things started to slow down. The price wasn't moving as crazy, and I'm looking at the ARTA chart, of course, but this was the same along a lot of alts, where the price slowed down. It didn't move. It didn't crazy. Wasn't crazy volatile. I mean, of course, this isn't the perfect picture of it, but there you have it. So predictions for ARTA, man, I just don't have any guts to go and claim any positions on ARTA. However, let me mark that off and go to Bitcoin Cash and have a little bit of a look at that. Bitcoin Cash, one of the coins that I think has been flourishing in this market and approaching these kind of previous resistance points, this being one of them now. This being kind of, let me delete that trend line. This one here being another one, and that's a strong one there as well. So lots and lots of movement upwards for Bitcoin Cash. There's been some controversy surrounding Bitcoin.com this week, and probably playing off the back of that. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere, does it? Wow, that's generally bullish for me. I'm going to go generally bullish on Bitcoin Cash because I do think that looks to be forming nicely upwards. We've got these higher, every time it's hitting this low point, it's higher. And so hopefully that trend continues. Now I'll have like go something like that. Probably go a little bit faster. But of course, if you're in Bitcoin Cash, or if you're thinking about buying it, you want to keep an eye out on these previous resistance points, and set some sell orders for parts of your position at these points, so that if the price does pop up rapidly, like it has done in the past on several occasions, you're making some quick cash and selling out some of your position, so that as the price comes back down lower, you can either buy more or take that profit and do whatever you want with it. Blackcoin, I was looking at a little bit earlier today, and it does look like it's heading lower now, because you've got this kind of 1, 2, 3, this larger 1, 2, 3 formation, and the rule, right, is that you want to look at the stop loss around this 3 mark. And so yes, you can turn around and say, well, wait, this is the new 3, or if I'm playing devil's advocate for my own bullish nature, we see in the 4-hour candle, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, where if the price failed to come back and touch this 1 point, and now has started to break beneath this 2 mark. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that when a price kind of breaks that 2 mark, what it tends to do is go up, or down in this case, and then come back to touch before continuing lower in some cases. Trying to find an upward example here. So where do we have an example? I mean, even if you look at this being the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, the price kind of broke above this and then has come back to touch it before taking off. It's like a takeoff, or like a setup, or setting up for it. And Blackcoin might be doing that as well. So I dare say that if the price kind of stays beneath this 3100 for a couple of candles, it might be heading back down south. That's a less than symbol. Which wouldn't be ideal for my holdings, but it happens. Way back here we've got early 1, 2, 3 bottom with bit shares, and of course crushed it, went up, broke above this 2 mark, came back down to touch it before taking off further, came back down to set up as well here, ultimately broke back down. And now having a look at this, alright, let's try something else here. Break above this 2 mark here, come up, and then come back down to touch it. So now it's touching that 2 mark where the previous resistance was, and could be heading back up again. So I think it'll probably be bullish until about 4,500 sats or so. Clamcoin, I did notice earlier today, broke some new lows, which isn't great. Still nowhere near where it was in late March. So this might just be the 1, 2, 3, the larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. We've got a bit of depression in the market, and then as the price turns around here, we'll see it kind of reapproach this level here, and hopefully ultimately break through it and cause a nice bull run. But I will put a watch on that one as well. Civic now. Alrighty. Civic has got a lot of support around here. Look at this. So it's very, a few touches on this line here. Several touches. So it does look like that's got solid support there. Very, very careful continuing to hold Civic if it does dip beneath this 4100 kind of level. But overall looks swell. I'll put anything less than 4100, we've got a bear move there, but it does look like it's kind of setting up to move back higher. Looking back here, just quickly with Civic, it's adhering to some of these previous trend lines, where it's previously touched here and then obviously eventually broken out. So that's interesting, and it does look as if it's adhering to that trend line. I'm going to put myself as a action star on that because I want to check that out and possibly buy some Civic at kind of these levels. I like how it's played with this trend line several times, including not being able to break above it and then breaking above, and that's solid. Crash, solid on that line. Solid again, and now it's adhering and starting to take off from that line with a little cheeky W formation there. So might be heading back up. Let's have a look at Dash now. Looks swell. So is that my colloquial language, is it, Doug? After this one, Doug, let's have a look at MadeSafe, and maybe you can tell me your thoughts through the chat window while I have a look at it, because I know you're a big advocate of that. Ooh, that's good, isn't it? Look at that. Nice clear lines. It's always nice and satisfying when you have these lines that are touched several times. Let's move that up even. You can even squint and see that's touched it 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. And now starting to take back off Dashcoin. Dash, I should say, because I think there's a smaller coin called Dashcoin, which ain't good, for confusion's sake. Ooh, look at that. It's even, if we manage to drag this all the way back here, it's almost adhering that. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Very long trend line on Dash, and it looks to be set right pretty much at the bottom of it. So that one is getting a generally bullish until next week on me, and we'll hopefully from me rather, we'll hopefully see that explode. Head continue upwards, but it needs to break back above this trend line. Anyway, let's just take a quick pause here and have a look at MadeSafe. We'll see previous predictions. I like to leave these previous chart drawings on the chart so that I can see where I obviously thought Made was heading, and I thought it was heading up, and it did not. What's happening with it? I mean, we're looking in the very short term candles, so over the long term, of course, we might have big move upwards. Just drawing a few fun lines on here, see if we can find anything. Bit of a 1, 2, 3 top formation, has broken down and come back to touch it, so that could also be moving lower. This support line here, this bit, this is what scares me, because the price needs to now break up above that, which is going to require significant velocity or force, and then it will probably come back and rest on it, and then it's got this trend line here to contend with. So it's got a few things in its way. I don't know. My gut says that it's probably going to be testing that line. See this kind of trend line here. Let's just draw that a little clearer. And then where will it go? Who knows? I'm going to save this chart just so I can keep all those nice little drawings intact. I'll just pop down here, Made, because we frequently visit that one. So alrighty, move on. Let's go to Decred. Whoa! Seen it a few times before, but it's still exciting to see these huge spike candles. Wow, so too many lines on here. I gotta get rid of some of these lines. So we've had the 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. We've had the adherence to kind of these support lines here, and this one too. They might even be able to draw a box around that. Interesting. Decred does look like it's probably going to surf around this little box here for a little while, and as it breaks out, we might have an opportunity to do one of those bend trades, which is, if you've seen any of my other videos, essentially it's this trick or this trade that I learned from the Naked Forex channel. Essentially works that when you see something trading in a channel like this, where the price is staying relatively within a box like this, what happens is the price will come out and sometimes it will just go back in. That's not the bend trade. What the bend trade is when the price moves outside of the box in either direction, comes back to touch the edge of the box, and then turns the other way. And the minute that it turns the other way, you know to buy it. Or to sell it, obviously. In the case of the this one, it would be a sell, because as it starts to bend the other way, that's the sell point. Or in the case of a buy signal, it would have to go like that, come back to touch, and then as it starts to lift off again, that's when you buy for the bend trade, right? So I'll keep an eye on Decred and see what happens with that one. But probably will continue to trade in that channel for a little while yet. Just to make that green. Alrighty. Let's have a look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin is such an old coin, and it just continues to get pumped and pumped because it's fun. People like a fun coin. They play around with it. They give their friends. It's a coin that you can actually spend. You know, a lot of these coins are like kind of hoarded. It's just what I'm seeing right off the bat. Support here for sure. Support around 35, maybe 36 even. And where will it go? You know, it's difficult to say on that one. I'm going to have to put a watch badge on it and see what happens with it. What about Ethereum? This one's I've bought, and it's really continued to flourish despite a lot of the other altcoins getting depressed. And I think that as the market consolidates, it's not uncommon for the bigger, more popular, you know, the ones that maybe get some media attention, those ones to kind of creep up first. It's the ones that people know are a bit safer. Still very speculative, but a little bit safer. I bought Ethereum, I think, somewhere in this region. And I'm looking to sell it. I'll show you where I'm selling it so that it doesn't come as a surprise. Whoops. I'll be looking to sell my Ethereum as it tries to hit this trend line here. Let's make this a nice aqua color. Maybe just a green. That's not good enough. That's good. So that's probably, as the price approaches this level, is where I'll be looking to sell it. Around just over 0.09, I'll sell some of my Ethereum. Hopefully hopefully the price will then come back down and I'll be able to purchase some more, but that's my overall feeling on that. I'll copy paste from last week because that's probably one of the ones that I'm still bullish on. I'm still bullish on a lot of them, but Expanse coin, big pump recently, nice big decline, and then more recently 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, tried to break out above, still dawdling around here. But ultimately it needs to get above this 28 mark to go for a bull run, which you can see I said exactly the same last week, and nothing's really changed with respect to that there. Factum just keeps getting pummeled into the ground, this one. I'm not too confident on it continuing upwards, just because of the pace at which it's come crashing down. 1, 2, 3 bottom, sure, but now it's basically at this original 3 point again, and that ain't good. I don't like that. We'll watch that one and we'll see. Folding coin now. What other coins should I look at? Because I've got all these ones in Poloniex. I know that there's a lot of new coins and things on Binance that people want to check out. Let me know if there's any you'd like me to check out. So with folding coin, we've got a bit slower movement here. Just drawing some lines and seeing what sticks at the moment. Managed to stay above this level of support, which is nice. Move that up there. And so overall, I think if the sentiment in the market starts to lift, which I mean overall, the rational part of my brain is like, look, if you're feeling a little bit of fear about the price dropping, that's probably the opposite of what you need to do. You know, the emotional side is like very untrustworthy. Yeah, that's right, Doug. What are some of them? What are some of the Binance coins that are have nice looking charts? Because I have got a Binance account. I haven't funded it yet, but maybe for another project I'll do that. I mean, overall, you know, I'm thinking the sentiment of the market will probably start to turn, and when that does, we'll see a lot of these coins start to retest these previous recent highs. And hey, Alfie, how you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. I'll check out ZIL. Let's do it. Is that on Binance, did you say? I'll just quickly get folding coin done and game out of the way, and then I'll hit up ZIL and we'll have a look at that. Look at game. Hey, Doug, I know this is something that you look after quite quite frequently. What do you think of these pre-pump patterns, these huge volume spikes for game? Are you still looking at this and thinking that is a buy signal? Because to me, that's what it looks like. To me, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, big 1, 2, 3 bottom with the pumps, right? With these big old pumps staying above this previous support line. Then again, it's not staying above this one, so we'll have to see. Needs to really get above 18,000 sats to stay up there. Sweet. There, yes, indeed. Let's have a look at, just quickly jump across to Binance and have a look at ZIL. Alfie, I know that you love to get on these pumps, my brother. Look at this. See, this is way over, man. This is done. Even if this goes to 5,000 sats, I still can't get on this train because it's already left the station. It's going way too fast for me. I can't catch it, and for me to attempt to get on this train right now, I'm probably going to fall off and damage my face. I mean, the best I can offer with respect to this is to turn this into... Oh, nice work, man. Nice work. I'm not sure what the sense is in compared to the sats here, but was the sell you put in quite recent, or was that something you sold a while back and it's gone a lot higher? Most recent bull run is there. Nice work, brother. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So you basically sold at a very good time. You made what? You quadrupled your money in a very short period of time. So now the question becomes, well, where can I buy back in if I'm looking to get in on this project again? Taking this right back to the start of this bull run, which I'd probably say is around there or there. And we're using the Heiken Ashi candles just so I can see it a little cleaner. And the price, hopefully, come back down and touch this this 50, or at the very least kind of this 0.382 line. So those would be my entries, just like 1820 to buy a little back, and then maybe 1580 to buy a little more. That's where I'd be looking to buy it. So like, what did I say, 1580 and 1830 or something like that. Nice. Good stuff, Alfie. That's awesome to hear, brother. Keep it up. Let's head back to my Poloniex. We're up to GNO. Zil looks interesting, man. Hey, no worries, man. You're welcome. Thank you. Alright, what do we got here? Interesting. Hasn't adhered to that trend line. We're looking at GNO. Has not adhered to the trend line, but also hasn't come crashing down. So, you know, I'd look at this and say, well, hang on a second. There's probably a larger trend line to play here. And sure enough, if I take that stick, I really need a nice bright color for this. No, that sucks. Let's go bright pink. No, that sucks. What about like purple? Maybe yellow. Let's go with yellow. So we've got this trend line. If I pull it back, you can see that the price has continued repeatedly to adhere to this trend. So it's once it's broken through, it's come touched it, broken way above, come back and touched it. So really what we're looking for at this point is for the price to start turning around, and that would be a buy signal in my book, because that would be almost like a bend trade or an adherence to that trend line. That'd be a nice buy, but of course we are looking at 12-hour candles, so let's have a quick look at 4. Yeah, look at that. See, it's what we don't want is a break beneath that. So really, if the price starts to get kind of less than 0.01, 0.0106 or so, under that mark is a bad move. Less than 0.0106 or so. That was GNO. Alright, let's make a GNT green. Let's go down there. What is going on with this coin? That's crazy. Just keeps pumping up higher and higher. Must be something going on with GNT. This hopefully is going to happen to a lot more altcoins as they get as they firm their place in the market. They become more useful as a utility or as a currency. Ven buy entry, love this coin also. Alright, let's check that out. Let me just tick off GNT here, because almost looks like a bit of a channel here, doesn't it? It's right in the middle here, so maybe the price will adhere to that channel. I'll go generally bullish on that, because it does look like it's going to continue trading upwards. However, of course, a move beneath this kind of trend line upwards would indicate stay away from it. That's awesome, Doug. So GNT, Golem Network tokens, where you can rent out your computer power and earn how is the actual token used? Is it purely as like a mining reward for sending out your... Because I would think that would create more selling pressure, right? Is it used to buy up the computer power as well? Let's just have a quick look at Venn. Venn against Bitcoin. Ooh, Venn, that looks good. That's almost... Oh man, I would say that would probably be a... Look, just want to disclaim this first of all, because I don't like to buy when things have already taken off, when the train's left the station, so to speak. However, you know, if you're looking for a buy entry, as it's breaking above this previous line, that would be a buy signal for sure. So if you're looking for an entry, it's probably now. However, of course, you also want to plan an exit. There's resistance there, so be prepared for the price to slow down and possibly turn around. And there's resistance up there as well. So we essentially have, if you're buying at this point that it's breaking this previous resistance point, then you don't have a huge lot of gap before it reaches this other strong resistance point that's had several other times. So, I mean, you might make a small amount of quick money, but yeah, of course you're risking quite a significant amount on, because that could easily turn back around and head back the other way. However, of course, if it goes against the odds and does break through this previous resistance point here, you don't have a lot of resistance all the way up to 75,000 sats or so. So it could be wise to just buy a small position now, and then if it breaks above this other resistance point, to add to your position here. So there would be a small position here, say maybe 1/3 of what you totally want to put in, and then I would kind of put 2/3 up here, just because of how unsure I am. Some people would kind of split that 50-50. Some people would just go all in here, but that's probably a bit risky, and I think it's more likely, I think, that it's going to head downwards. So that's why I would say put a small position on. Yeah. But man, at the same time, putting a small position on now is going to lock in some better profits if you are proven correct. So I would, yeah, as I said, buy a small position, say 1/3 of what you'd want to put on, add on 2/3 if it gets up there, and then just have a nice tight stop just around here, or maybe even if you wanted to go here to really stop it short, and then if it starts to creep back down, you can very quickly get out of it. Alright, that's my quick Venn analysis. I will keep an eye on that one though. Curious to see how that works out, bro. That's Bittrex. Let's move on to library credits. This one always breaks my heart, but it does look like it's higher lows here, which is nice to see. I'm always curious about pulling back these trend lines. It seems to be adhering to them. So, this is a good sign. Library credits might be bottoming out. I'll just say bottoming out. Alright, Lisk. Now I made a big prediction about Litecoin. I said here I can see, look at yellow line. So I'm going to have a look at that one next. So Lisky. That almost looks like a channel as well, doesn't it? Got a little slow moving channel here. And of course it broke up. The market got a little bit too excited here. And now it looks to be trending back up, so that looks good. I'm going to say generally bullish on that one until next week. Let's have a look at Litecoin. Litecoin. Just going to grab this previous week's chart where I drew a yellow line on it. Okay, so that resistance at 18.018 and then went up to 0.019. Resistance at 0.018, which did happen. However, I think my yellow line was something like that. So at that point of resistance, it instead chose to turn around. And like many of my predictions last week, I was wrong. So that's heartbreaking, but not really. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And now we have that creeping up. I'm not sure on that. We'll be watching it to see what happens. Oh, Doug, you mentioned before you can, with the Golem Network token, you could buy computing power and sell it. Best to read more about them. Nice. Cool. I wonder what that computing power is used for, and obviously it's secure. It's secured by a huge network of people doing it, so you know, it's not like computers are getting hacked. Fundamentals of a lot of these coins are very, very interesting, but ultimately, when I was speaking with Doug in the more recent Google Hangouts video, he mentioned that while fundamentals are good, and I'm paraphrasing of course, while fundamentals are good, eventually that sort of thing is going to show up in the technical analysis anyway. The markets will turn around, the price will head north anyway. So keeping an eye on the technicals is definitely very important. So that trend line there, just throwing some more lines out there to see what sticks, and that's another nice trend line, higher lows. It's really at that point now, and of course the market is very unsure. That's why it's at this point. If the market was sure, it would already be higher. However, if we can kind of get in when the market is unsure, we can pick up a much better bargain than the next guy. Would love to see a bit more volume with Navcoin for it to move up higher, but I mean it has been increasing a little bit here. Looks like it anyway. Navcoin. Yeah, so hopefully with any luck it'll start heading back up above this 14,000 resistance point here, 14,000 sats mark. Greater than 14k sats equals a bull move, so possibly going higher from there. Let's have a look at OMG now. Getting through them. So many to do, but it's better to do them all than to miss some. Still leave those old 1, 2, 3s. So OMG is like one of the few coins that kind of resisted the big pullback in January through to March. You know, it started a little bit overpriced and probably ended towards the end of March a little bit lower. However, yeah, it's really resistant to it. Looks to be staging now on top of this support line. So that could mean that it could be heading north. So really we need the price to kind of move above this. Really we need it above 20,000 because that's a big round number, psychological barrier. Really need 200,000. We need OMG to get above 200,000, and then we've got a nice bull move. That said, it doesn't look like that's happening in the next week here, but it's good to put it down there just in case it does. Alrighty, rep had a bit of a go, didn't it? Look at that. Nice bottom out here. Staging. Popped up. What's it doing? It's going to be staging. It's going to be chilling here for a second before it goes higher. This is a point of previous resistance. We can see the price has kind of failed to break through several times. It did break through, it came back down to touch it and staged on it. Now it's moved up higher. So my guess would be that the price is probably going to be turning around soon on this one. I'll put generally bullish until next week. Hey, it's probably one of the only ones I was right about, because last week was the 3rd of May. All the way back here, and it actually was higher. So that was one that I get an A for. A for effort. See a coin. Big 1, 2, 3 bottom here, nice staging platform, and now really looks like it's staging again, coming back down, chilling for a second, and hopefully that means a nice stage to dance to the moon off, like that. Of course we don't know. If we see the price kind of drop beneath that 260 permanently, or at least for 1 or 2 candles, that's, I'd be very wary of that. Less than 260 sats equals a bear move. That's how I'll put that down. Steam. This is used to give you more steam power on the social media site steemit.com. So it gives your votes more power if you hold more steam. So it's really, the way that I look at it is it's a bit of a hoarding coin. Encourages hoarding, which is always good for the long-term growth of it as a financial asset. And you can see here as well, as much as the price obviously did come back substantially from kind of January, February to March time, it's recovered a lot of that already. And so if we can have this stage and come back up, it might be reaching kind of new highs or new recent highs, and that's always good. But yeah, we do need a move above this point, don't we? Really, the price needs to get above about 34k sats to, I'll say here, needs to stay. $34k sats to really kind of give me an indication that, alright, it's over, the bear pullback is over, and now we can just kind of chill before it goes higher. That's really what I think on that one. Storage. It's another interesting one fundamentally, of course, with the hard drive sharing coin. Looks to be dancing in a little bit of a channel here, and hopefully if it starts to if it adheres to this channel, which it does look to be doing with the recent spike up, maybe that's a bullish move, I think. Thanks for tuning in, Doug. Appreciate that. Thanks, man. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in. Appreciate it. Watching. I know Mitch, you're out there somewhere. Alfie, good job. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. And this one here, STR, Stellar Lumens. I mean, the higher lows gives me some confidence. If we pull that all the way back, we can see that the price has been adhered to on several occasions. So this trend line is definitely a trend line that the price does like to adhere to. Really, if you're trading STR, I would draw this trend line in, and if the price dips beneath it, to get out. I mean, and by dips beneath it, I mean, of course, solid candle, because there's a lot of manipulation in these markets, and bots will push down the price, and then it'll pop back up very quickly. And you can see what that's happened here. The price has come back down. You can see the wick right here is underneath that trend line, but these trend lines are just zones. Don't think of them as concrete lines. They're gray areas. So you really need to see a couple of candles, ideally, form beneath that line or a strong move for it to indicate a sellout. But right now it's still above it, and that means that it is still bullish. Let's move on to Strat now. Extend that line out, see what happens. We get a little bit of dancing around it, but not that much. And price moving up. Let's see, this is great. This is looking bullish. That overall is looking bullish, especially if we draw that trend line all the way back. We can see that it's been adhered to several times. Hopefully, this price closes above this blue trend line here, and then we have a nice bullish looking chart. Generally bullish until next week on that one. Let's have a look at VTC. And I'm not a fan of that chart. Does not look that great. Just because the turnaround here, the 1, 2, 3 isn't very solid. This kind of real slow down of the momentum of this coin going up, it's not good. VTC used to have a lot of, I think, buzz around it, and I don't really hear much about it anymore. Maybe because there's a lot of other coins kind of clouding the crypto sphere, but I don't know. Not looking good. Generally bearish. I haven't put that one in for a while. Counterparty. Oh, that looks so nice, doesn't it? Look at that. Big cup. Little handle. Oh, another little handle. And then hopefully a breakout. But really we need a move above this 246 resistance level. And I put it here last week, 243, same shit. 246, 243. It's a grey area. XMR. Monero. Been hit recently, had a fork. Had a fork happen right around, I think, here. The XMV fork, Monero V. Only time will tell if that's actually any use or not. Very slow, meandering uptrend here. Doesn't really connect to much else back there. Oh, hang on, look at that. Does a little bit, doesn't it? With the thicker, like the 12-hour candles and such, this trend line would look a bit nicer. So, you know, very strong resistance for Monero around this 30.03 mark, and it's hit it several times. And if we do change it back to the 12-hour candles, that trend line does look a lot nicer. But you can see here that it's hit this 0.03 4 times now, essentially. It's broken above it for a short period, but then eventually, of course, has come crashing back down. It is adhering to this larger blue trend line, and it looks to be adhering to this yellow trend line as well, this shorter time frame one. Overall, gotta say it's looking pretty good. However, yeah, break beneath that is gonna spell trouble for Monero. Generally bullish until next week on that one. XPM. If you saw last week's episode, I did manage to get on this pump right around here. I bought due to some pre-pump signals, so you know you can jump on the bandwagon of these pump and dumps before actually they happen, and you can look for the signals of where the people are buying up large stacks of it before it actually pumps, and you can see that's exactly what happened right here. Lots of big green volume spikes where people are buying huge amounts of XPM because they know something that you don't know, which is that a big pump is incoming. And really, those price spikes, right? They're the same. The pre-pump and the post-pump are the same. The same levels of volume. It's quite amazing, and perfectly adhered to this. But of course, we want to predict the future and what's going to happen with XPM. Who the flip knows? That just looks like it's come back substantially. I mean, if I draw a fib retracement, we'll probably see something interesting on that. Yeah, there you go. It's come back down to the 618. Touched that. It kind of stopped at the 38 and crashed. So if it starts to move, it continues upwards, there might be something to Prime coin. I do like the fundamentals of this coin, and I think there may be some sort of fork coming up with Bitcoin Prime. Cool idea, but ultimately not something I'd be buying. XRP now. Broke this upward trend line and failed, and now it's come back down. Larger 1, 2, 3 has broken. That does not look good. Where do we need it to? Really, we need it to get back above kind of this level here. We really need to get above 8,800 sats or so. Stay afloat, I'll say. And last but not least, Zcash. It's been pumping here for just the last 12 hours. Let's move this to the 4-hour view. Bit of a consolidation for sure. Doesn't look like the end. Looks like markets will continue to rise in general. So, but yeah, we needed to get above that kind of 0.0327 mark, really. 0.327, somewhere around that, and then we can have a real moonshot with Zcash. Now, just before I wrap it up, if there's any other coins you guys want me to check out, make sure you leave a comment, and if you want to see more of this sort of content, then subscribe and give us a thumbs up so that I can get a few more people watching this channel. Thanks so much for tuning in, really appreciate it, and I'll see you next week. Alright, peace.